What's a subtle sign that someone wasn't raised right? Talking to service workers like they're beneath them. Yep, being rude to waiters or cashiers is a big red flag. I've heard dating advice that suggests going to dinner with a potential partner and watching how they interact with wait staff or bartenders. If they're rude or condescending, immediately end it. Exactly. How someone treats waitstaff says a lot about their character. It's like a sneak peek into how they'll treat you in the long run. The deepest sign someone wasn't raised right is when they can't sit with their own mistakes or pain without lashing out or shutting down. It's a quiet emptiness inside where empathy, self-awareness, and humility should live that never got nurtured, leaving them lost in fear instead of growth. The biggest cowards I've ever met, were all small, insecure men. And I don't mean small in stature. Their height was not the issues here. It was the depths to which they weren't willing to reach inside themselves within their own souls. That was the problem. Everything is about them. Nobody's needs are above their own. Definitely met my fair share of those assholes. It starts with a God complex and it gets worse from bad parenting. I used to be friends with someone in high school who was an arrogant piece of shit and his parents literally did not care as long as his grades were up. For me, it's my father. He literally throws tantrums as a 60-year-old if you don't do things his way as dinner cooked his way. If you don't, he pouts and won't eat dinner. Littering. Especially when they throw something big like a fast food bag full of trash right out the car window. Have they no shame? Who just blatantly does this in front of people without feeling like an asshat? My wife and I were behind a car a couple of months ago when an empty cup, like for a shake or an iced coffee, smacked our windscreen. Like they didn't even just throw it in the footwell of their passenger seat, they just fucking yeeted it out the window, the filthy bastard. A person who wasn't raised right judges others by what they have, not who they are. See, I don't know if that necessarily has to do with how one is raised. Case in point, my father-in-law, who is that to a T. But he has two sisters that are the sweetest, most unjudgmental people. All three raised by the same parents. So, I don't know. Everyone assumes they get the same upbringing, but it's not always true. A lot of the time, parents will treat their kids differently in many subtle ways that can influence them. And sometimes the kids are the opposite in spite of the parents. They receive any and all criticism as an attack. I can't speak for everyone, but having been raised in a hypercritical household, I can say that I'm terribly sensitive to criticism. I'm working on it, but it's hard to hear criticism as a positive form of correction. Agreed. My parents used any mistake I made as a future way to discredit me, even in completely unrelated situations. So now I get extremely defensive when I'm criticized because I feel like my credibility and character are on the line, permanently. They expect others to clean up after them. I hate it when people say that's what they're paid to do, as an excuse to leave movie theaters or sports venues a fucking mess. Like sure, someone is getting paid to make sure things get cleaned up, but why make it harder for them? What if I came to your job and made it so that you had to do twice as much work just because you're paid to do it? And like, I'm not expecting people to get on their hands and knees and pick up individual bits of popcorn. If they accidentally spill it, the staff will genuinely have better tools for that task. But take your cups and popcorn bags and throw them out. Absolutely. Like, they literally have garbage bins everywhere on your way out. Speakerphone in public places. Not using headphones when playing music, sees podcasts, or playing video games in public, especially in waiting rooms or out in nature. Absolutely this. People playing their music on the phone speakers on the bus, like, bro, I enjoy music as well. That's why I've purchased these headphones for $15 so I can listen to my own music, not yours. They don't put the cart in the designated cart areas, just wherever the heck they want. Lowest form of scumbag in modern society. Just yesterday, I watched a woman who was parked in the first parking spot in the lot closest to the entrance to the grocery store push her cart to an empty parking spot across the lane and leave it there, rather than return the cart to the front of the store where it belonged. The distance from her to car to the storefront versus to the empty spot where she left the cart were basically the same. Was she intentionally being an asshole? I was so tempted to ask, just to understand her reasoning behind this decision. I have known people like this who do this kind of thing, and other similar things like leaving a mess at the movies or not throwing trash out at a fast food place, that they genuinely think they're doing whoever cleans up a favor by leaving a mess, because if they didn't have a mess to clean, they wouldn't have a job. Gets visibly uncomfortable when praised because they never heard it growing up. FUXD. I was bullied in school and had high standards family to receive praise. Then when someone really compliments me, I get awkward and don't know how to react. If someone gave me heavy insults instead, I wouldn't feel anything. Yeah, I kind of feel that I am less unnerved when someone is cussing me out versus when they're saying something nice. At least I know for certain they're being genuine when they're cussing me out or insulting me. But if they're praising me, I won't know if it's just manipulation or trying to look nice to everyone else. Taking a shit and not washing your hands. Not even hand sanitizer. A guy I unfortunately dated a few times did this, and when I pointed it out, he said, "Well, I obviously use toilet paper, so my hands hasn't touched the you-know-what." I said, "You can't be in my home if you don't start washing your hands." Gross people like that will do other things that are gross as well. Probably double dips with his poopy hands. Lack of boundaries. I wondered for years why it was so hard for me to make friends and get along with my peers. It's because the way I was socialized at home didn't give me a blueprint for how to interact with other people. I had to figure it all out on my own, painfully. Being conservative. It means you were raised with little sense of empathy, community, beyond ones right in front of you and that are similar to you, to ignore logic and reason, and to believe lies instead of truth. That's it for today. Leave a comment down below on what you think is a sign that someone wasn't raised right.